It was a serene spring morning, and Donna Lucia, at 62 years old, sat on her porch, a mug of chamomile tea warming her hands. The rising sun cast golden rays over the garden, where the roses she tended with such care were beginning to bloom. The silence was punctuated by birdsong, and Lucia, with a gentle smile, opened her notebook where she recorded thoughts, prayers, and memories. For her, life after 50 was a tapestry woven with threads of gratitude, overcome challenges, and promises of a hope-filled future. That morning, like so many others, was an invitation to reflect on the past, live the present with purpose, and trust in the blessings yet to come. Lucia always compared life to a river that flows gently in some stretches and faces rapids in others, but ultimately finds its way to the sea. As a young woman, she dreamed of being a teacher, traveling the world, and building a large family. Life, however, brought surprises. She married Antonio, a man with an easy laugh and a generous heart, and together they had 2 children, Anna and Rafael. The house, once a stage for children's play and lively conversations, was now quieter, but the grandchildren brought new life on weekends. For Lucia, maturity was a time to reap the fruits of a well-lived life and plant new seeds of faith and love. Memories of the past, roots that sustain. Closing her eyes, Lucia let her memories transport her to her childhood. She grew up in a small town in the interior of São Paulo, where life revolved around family, church, and community festivals. She recalled afternoons helping her mother make homemade bread, her grandfather telling stories about life in the countryside, and nights when the family gathered to pray the rosary. Her mother, Donna Rosa, was a woman of deep faith who always said, "Trust in God, my daughter, he never fails." Those words echoed in Lucia, especially in moments when life seemed challenging. The challenges were many. When Antonio lost his job 15 years ago, Lucia faced months of financial uncertainty. Bills piled up, and she, working as a seamstress, spent sleepless nights sewing to supplement their income. In those moments, faith was her anchor. Lucia prayed for strength and wisdom, and gradually, doors opened. Antonio found a new job, and she began teaching sewing classes, which brought not only income but also joy. That experience taught her that prosperity isn't just about money, but about peace, purpose, and trust in better days. Memories of her children were also a treasure. Lucia laughed as she recalled Anna, at 7 years old, trying to paint the living room walls with crayons, or Rafael, who loved dismantling toys to fix them. But there were difficult moments, like when Anna, in her teenage years, rebelled and distanced herself from the family. Lucia suffered, but never stopped praying. In time, Anna returned, more mature, and today was a devoted mother. For Lucia, this was proof that patience and faith can transform even the most restless hearts. Lucia also remembered her youth, when she and Antonio were dating. They would stroll hand in hand through the town square, dreaming of the future. They married in a simple but love-filled ceremony and built a life together, facing highs and lows with partnership. Those memories were like a balm, reminding her that true love endures time. Everyday stories, the joy of grandchildren and home. Her grandchildren, Clara and Pedro, were Lucia's greatest joy. On weekends, the house filled with laughter when they arrived. Clara, 9 years old, loved helping her grandmother in the garden, learning to prune roses and water vegetables. "Grandma, did God make flowers to make us smile?" she asked with shining eyes. Lucia responded with stories about creation, teaching that the beauty of nature reflects divine love. Pedro, 6 years old, preferred running through the yard, chasing butterflies or building forts with branches and cushions. Taking care of the house was another source of satisfaction. Lucia kept everything organized, but with a touch of warmth. The living room, with its old sofas and family photos, was a museum of memories. The wardrobe held the patchwork quilt she made for Anna's wedding, and the bookshelf displayed the prayer books inherited from her mother. For Lucia, the house was more than a roof. It was a sanctuary of love and history. She loved cooking for the family, and the aroma of a beef stew or an orange cake always drew everyone to the kitchen. Health required attention. Lucia dealt with high blood pressure and back pain, but didn't let it bring her down. She took daily walks, followed her medication routine, and joined a stretching group for seniors at church. There, she met friends like Donna Helena, with whom she shared laughter and advice. "Age brings limitations, but it also teaches us to value each day," Lucia said. She believed that caring for the body was a form of gratitude, and nurturing the soul with prayer gave life meaning. In daily life, Lucia cherished moments with Antonio. They enjoyed having coffee together, planning small home improvements, or simply talking about their grandchildren. Sometimes they reminisced about the past, laughing about the time Antonio tried to fix the roof and got soaked by unexpected rain. Those moments strengthened the bond that had united them for nearly 4 decades. Reflections. Faith as the key to life. For Lucia, faith was the key that opened every door. Inspired by God's promises, she found strength to face any challenge. Every morning before sunrise, she sat with her Bible and notebook, jotting down verses and reflections. "Lord, guide me and light my path," was her daily prayer. She believed God was a constant companion, always ready to hear her joys, doubts, and requests. Faith helped her cope with the uncertainties of maturity. At 62, Lucia thought about the future. How much time do I have? Will my children be okay? What will old age be like? Instead of letting fear take over, she chose to trust. Inspired by the idea that God has a perfect plan, she felt her life still had purpose. She wanted to be an example for her grandchildren, showing that faith transforms challenges into opportunities, and that age is just a number when you live with love. Lucia also reflected on gratitude. She had learned over the years that giving thanks for small things, a sunny day, a chat with a friend, her grandchildren's health, changed her perspective. "When we give thanks, the heart feels lighter," she said. This practice helped her see God's hand in every detail, even on difficult days. She often recalled a verse she read frequently. "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will." Forgiveness was another important lesson. Lucia knew life brings hurts, harsh words, misunderstandings, moments of distance. When Anna distanced herself as a teenager, Lucia could have held on to resentment, but she chose to pray and keep her heart open. That gesture brought her daughter back. For Lucia, forgiving was liberating, like opening a window to let fresh air in. Lucia also thought about time. With age, days seemed to fly by, and she wondered if she had lived fully. Have I said, "I love you" enough? Have I seized every moment? These reflections led her to change habits. She started calling friends more often, writing letters to her children, and revisiting hobbies like painting flowers in watercolor. Life is a gift, and every day is a chance to make a difference, she thought. Promises and hopes, a future of light. Looking to the future, Lucia dreamed of simple but meaningful days. She wanted to watch her grandchildren grow, perhaps travel with Antonio to a special place like the Santa Catarina coast, where they could walk on the beach and feel the sea breeze. She dreamed of publishing a small book with her memories and reflections, not for fame, but to leave a legacy. "I want my grandchildren to know that faith sustains us and love is eternal," she said. Lucia also had spiritual promises. She believed God still had plans for her, even in her later years. Inspired by the idea that faith moves mountains, she felt called to share hope. In her stretching group, in conversations with neighbors, or in the messages she posted on WhatsApp, Lucia wanted to be a light. "If I can help someone believe, I've fulfilled my mission," she thought. Her hope extended to her family. Lucia prayed that Ana and Rafael would find balance in their busy lives, and that Clara and Pedro would grow up with strong values. She knew she couldn't control the future, but she trusted that by surrendering her worries to God, everything would resolve in due time. God cares for the birds of the sky. Why wouldn't He care for us, she reflected, recalling the scriptures. Lucia also dreamed of getting more involved with the community. She thought about starting a prayer group at church or teaching sewing to neighborhood youth, sharing her talent and faith. Age isn't a limit. It's an invitation to do good, she said. She believed every act of generosity was a seed planted, blossoming into blessings for all. Life as a garden of faith. Lucia liked to compare life to a garden. Each phase, childhood, youth, maturity, was a season. In childhood, we plant dreams. In youth, we water them with passion, facing storms. In maturity, we harvest fruits, but also learn to care for the soil, prune what no longer serves, and plant new seeds. At 62, Lucia felt her garden was vibrant, but there was still room for new colors. Challenges for her were like strong winds that shake the trees but don't topple them. Antonio's illness years ago, a heart condition requiring months of treatment, was a storm. Lucia spent nights praying for strength, and gradually he recovered. That experience taught her that faith is the root that keeps the garden steady, and love, the sun that makes it bloom. A garden isn't perfect, but it's alive, she thought. Lucia also valued the small things. A hug from Pedro, a blooming rose, the sound of Antonio's laughter. These were the most precious flowers in her garden. She began keeping a gratitude journal, noting 3 good things each day. Sometimes they were big, like Raphael's graduation. Others were simple, like the taste of warm tea on a chilly afternoon. When we give thanks, we see God in everything, she said. The power of generosity. Lucia had learned over time that generosity is a key to abundance. In her youth, when money was scarce, she made a point to share what she had, even if it was little. She donated clothes she sewed, helped with the church's soup kitchen, or simply listened to those who needed to vent. When we give, we receive double, she believed, inspired by the promise that generosity opens the gates of heaven. Today, she remained generous. She donated food baskets to families in need, taught sewing for free to community youth, and always had an encouraging word for those she met. For Lucia, being generous was a way to reflect God's love. If I have a loaf of bread, I share it. If I have a word, I offer it, she said. This attitude attracted unexpected blessings, friends who became family, opportunities that appeared out of nowhere, and a peace no money could buy. A legacy of faith. Lucia knew her greatest legacy was not material, but spiritual. She wanted her grandchildren to grow up knowing that faith is the foundation of a fulfilling life, that love overcomes any obstacle, and that gratitude transforms the heart. So she told stories, sang hymns with Clara, taught Pedro to pray, and wrote letters to her children sharing life lessons. My mother taught me to trust, and I want to pass that on, she said. In the community, Lucia was an example. She participated in the church's pastoral group, helped organize charity events, and always had time to listen to those in need. Doing good is planting seeds of hope, she thought. She believed every gesture, no matter how small, made a difference in the world, a future illuminated by faith. Looking at the horizon, Lucia felt peace. She knew old age would bring challenges, perhaps more pain, perhaps goodbyes, but she also knew each day was a chance to live with purpose. She wanted to learn something new, like improving her watercolor painting or taking a cooking class. She dreamed of traveling with Antonio, even if just to a nearby town, and savoring every moment by his side. Above all, Lucia wanted to be a reflection of divine love. She believed her life, with its scars and joys, was a testament that God keeps his promises. If I can inspire one person to trust, to forgive, to love, my mission will be complete, she thought. As the sun rose, Lucia finished her tea and opened her Bible. The verse of the day spoke of trust. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. She smiled, feeling her heart warmed. Life wasn't perfect, but it was rich in love, memories, and faith. Lord, may my life be a praise to you, she whispered. Lucia stood up, ready for the day. At 62, she knew there was still much to live for. Each sunrise was a new page, a chance to plant, water, and harvest in the garden of life. And on that path she walked lightly, knowing that God guided her today and always.